The sun had already begun its slow descent beyond the green hills when Ethan Clark stepped out of his sleek black car and into the cornfield that once used to be his life. The same golden light that once made him dream now made him ache. The breeze carried the scent of soil and memories, twisting around him like ghosts of the past. Just a few yards away, kneeling amid the rows of young crops, was a woman in a deep maroon dress and a beige apron, her braid falling over one shoulder as she pulled out weeds with quiet focus. Time seemed to slow as he realized, after all these years, she still worked the same field with the same care. Her name was Mira, and 5 years ago, she had been his wife. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of love that never dies, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because what happens next will remind you that some hearts never stop hoping, no matter how much time passes. Ethan had been gone for half a decade, 5 long years of building an empire of glass towers, conference rooms, and endless zeros in his bank account. He had everything money could buy, luxury, respect, and silence. But he had lost the one thing that could never be bought, peace. Every morning, as he stared at his reflection in the marble walls of his penthouse, he saw the emptiness growing deeper behind his eyes. The day he signed the divorce papers, Mira had said only one thing: "You're chasing the world, Ethan. But I hope someday you realize what you're leaving behind." At the time, he didn't. He thought love was something that could wait, something that would stay behind quietly while he climbed his way to success. But love doesn't wait forever, it either grows with you or dies in the silence you leave it in. Myra's life after the divorce was nothing like his. She stayed behind in the little farmhouse they once dreamed of expanding, working from dawn till dusk to keep it alive. She had no company but the rustle of corn, the whispers of rain, and her own strength. Life was never easy, but she had found dignity in struggle. The neighbors often saw her walking barefoot in the fields at sunrise, her maroon dress soaked with dew, her hands scarred from labor, but her eyes still calm, like someone who had made peace with pain. When Ethan stepped closer, the crunch of dry grass made her glance up. For a brief moment, neither of them moved. Her hands froze in the soil, her lips parting slightly in disbelief. He looked older now, his hair trimmed and neat, his white shirt spotless, but his eyes were tired, soft with guilt. She stood slowly, brushing dirt off her apron, unsure if this was real or just another cruel trick of memory. 5 years of silence, and now, he was standing there like a ghost returning from a dream. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he reached into his car and pulled out a small wooden box, worn at the edges as if it had been held many times. He walked toward her, each step heavy, each breath careful, as if afraid to shatter the fragile air between them. When he finally stood before her, the weight of all those lost years hung in the space between their eyes. He opened the box, and inside, wrapped in velvet, was a bundle of papers tied with an old ribbon and a single silver key resting on top. Mira stared, her brows knitting in confusion. He finally spoke, his voice low and trembling. He told her about the promise he had broken, the promise to rebuild her late father's farmhouse, the one that had been damaged years ago in a storm. The project he had once abandoned for a business trip that seemed more important. But now, that farmhouse stood again, restored, furnished, and surrounded by the same trees she once planted with her father as a child. The key was hers. And the papers were proof that he had transferred its ownership solely to her, with no strings attached. For a long time, she said nothing. Her eyes shimmered, the tears threatening to spill as she looked at the box, then at him. Memories flooded her, their laughter echoing in those fields, their dreams written on napkins, the mornings they used to share coffee before he disappeared into his ambition. "Why now, Ethan?" she finally asked, her voice steady but quiet. He looked away, toward the mountains. "Because I built everything I thought I wanted, and it all felt hollow without the woman who taught me what love actually means." Silence wrapped around them again. Only the whisper of wind through the corn broke it, bending the stalks gently like the rhythm of old forgiveness. Ethan took a step back, unsure if she would let him stay. He didn't expect her to. He hadn't come to fix what was broken, he knew some cracks are meant to stay, reminding us of the lessons we nearly forgot. But what he didn't expect was what happened next. Mira placed her hand on the box, then on his wrist. Her touch was soft but certain. She told him that forgiveness wasn't about forgetting, it was about setting both souls free. She couldn't promise to love him again, not after all the silence and pain, but she could offer peace. And sometimes, peace is the most powerful form of love left behind. Ethan felt something break inside him, not a wound, but a wall. The kind of wall he had built around his heart, made of pride and ego and fear. As she turned back to her plants, he noticed her hands trembling slightly, the tears she refused to wipe away glinting in the sunlight. It wasn't rejection, it was release. He realized that the gift he had brought her wasn't just the farmhouse. It was the apology he had never been brave enough to give. As he walked back toward his car, the golden hour wrapped the world in light. He turned one last time and saw her kneeling again among the green shoots, her braid glinting like a thread of hope, her straw hat beside her, untouched. For the first time in years, he smiled, not the smile of a millionaire, but of a man who had finally found what he was truly searching for. Sometimes, the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't money, or gifts, or grand gestures, it's the courage to show up, to face what you broke, and to give back what you took for granted. Ethan didn't drive away with victory, he drove away lighter, his soul finally unclenched, knowing that some stories don't end in love, they end in understanding. And that is its own kind of miracle. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional, and inspiring stories to life, stories that remind us of the beauty in forgiveness and the strength in kindness. Before we end, tell us in the comments, do you believe people deserve a second chance if they truly change? Because sometimes, the heart that broke you might just be the one that teaches you what love was always meant to be.